The race is on to find our next Director of Public Prosecutions. 6 candidates are set to face a presidential advisory panel, but one name is raising eyebrows, and that, of course, is of Advocate Menzi Simelane. He was a previous incumbent. He held the post before until the Constitutional Court raised serious concerns about his conduct, finding him, in fact, improper and set aside that appointment. But he's also facing a fight with the Johannesburg Society of Advocates, who are saying not only do they not want him as NDPP, they don't want him to be an advocate at all. Freedom Under Law, a watchdog in legal affairs, has also submitted a formal objection saying they don't want him in that top job. Chris Oxtoby joins us now on the line, who is a research consultant for Freedom Under Law. Chris, a very good morning to you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, Bongani, and good morning to your listeners.
Right, Menzi Simelane argues, hang on, we've had many years since the events that led to him being declared fit, or at least not fit and proper, both by the Ginwala Commission and eventually the Constitutional Court. He says, even if you have a quibble with what he might have done there, look at his record as a civil servant rather than as a lawyer. He is fit for this job.
Well, the problem with that argument is that a major part of his record as a civil servant implicates the findings that the Ginwala Commission made about him. I mean, at the time, if people cast their minds all the way back to that dispute, he was the Director General, of the Department of Justice, and it was in that capacity that the Ginwala Commission made very serious adverse findings against him, and I won't go into the full details of them, but I think it is worth people just recalling some of the
Look, Chris,
the gravity of those issues.
A brief summary won't hurt. This was all around the removal of Vusi Pikoli. He was the Director General in the Department of Justice. He framed the letter that led to the decision of the removal of Vusi Pikoli, and that's essentially what was at issue with his conduct.
Yeah, the letter is a crucial issue, and that particular letter, which he was found to have drafted for the minister, the Ginwala inquiry, in fact, describes the writing of that letter as being reckless, and it said that it was tantamount to executive interference in the NPA's independence. So, I mean, we can just pause straight away and consider what it would mean to have somebody with that finding hanging over them, whether or not it was a long time ago. I frankly don't think makes a great deal of difference. The fact was that that happened. That was found by the Ginwala Commission, and it was confirmed by the Constitutional Court subsequently. None of the Ginwala. Sorry, go ahead,
Chris. Is there room to say, hang on, let this process unfold? There's nothing legally, perhaps, that prevents him from applying for the post, but neither is this advisory panel compelled to recommend him to the president, and that by opposing this, you're making this a bigger issue than it necessarily ought to be?
Well, I think it ought to be a big issue. I mean, this, as I said, the gravity of those findings, I don't think can be underplayed, and I think that's particularly so if we think of all the challenges that are facing the criminal justice sector at the moment. We clearly need a National Director of Public Prosecutions that is beyond reproach and that is not going to have issues about their fitness for office, about their credibility, and frankly, and I'm using words that appear in the Ginwala Commission report and in the judgment, that their honesty is not in question. You are quite right to point out that the decision of the panel does not bind the president. It is ultimately the president's decision. But I think it's really important that that decision is informed by a proper appraisal of the track record of the candidates, including these issues in Advocate Simelane's background. And of course, it was the failure of former President Zuma to take those factors into account which led to his original appointment as National Director being set aside in the first place. So we have to be very alive to what those issues are, I think.
Yeah, if the Court, the highest court in the land, found him improper before, why would it be appropriate to appoint him now? Chris Oxtoby, research consultant for Freedom Under Law. Thank you for your time.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions.
Your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.